Hi 5K, happy Friday. Welcome to your last math class of the week. So, for math today, here's our plan. We are going to learn how to count backwards from 10 down to 1. And you're actually going to get to follow along with me as we do this with pennies, fake pennies. And then we're going to do half of our fact practice and then our worksheet together. So, that is the things we will do today. So, to follow along with me during our mini lesson right now, what you need is this is called your hundreds chart. It is nice and shiny, and it was on the back of your packet of this week. It was paper clipped to the back of your packet and then stapled to the back of the hundreds chart. It has all the numbers from 1 to 100. Yeah, that's why it's called a hundreds chart. And then you need these fake pennies that were on the back of that stapled. So find these two things, put them on the table in front of you, and then take out your pennies so that you can slide each penny as I do it, and you can follow along with how to count backwards from 10. And we're also we're going to review how to add one. We talked about that last week, or earlier this week, we're going to talk more about how to add one to a number. So the first thing I want you to do, once you have your hundreds chart and your pennies out, is take each penny and we're going to see how many we have, okay? Go ahead and stick on the pennies until you run out of pennies. And the way a hundreds chart works is you start from 1, and then you go right to number 10 until you get to 10. And then you go to the next row, 10, 11. And then you move in that row, and then you move on to the rows like that. So fill up the chart with all your pennies. Go ahead and do that now. Slide them one box for each penny. And see how many you have in your bag. I know how many you have. But let's see if you can figure out how many you have. If I'm going faster than you, that's okay. Just keep sliding them on. 1 penny for each box. And when you have put each of your pennies onto a box like this, your chart should look like this. You should have 2 full rows of pennies. That top row and then that second to top row. And the cool part about a hundreds chart is you can always lift up your penny and then see how many you have. So this is our last one in the row. Go ahead and lift up this last one. And then it tells us that we have 20 pennies. We have 20 pennies in each of your bags. So what I want you to do with your second row is take off just your second row of pennies now. So I'm going to take off this row of pennies and just set them to the side. So you should have just 1 row at the top. All right, so we started with 20, and then I told you to take off that row. So now we're going to see how many we still have on our chart. Do you remember what we have to do to see how many we have? We don't have to count. We could, but you can also just see what number is on my last one. On my last one, go ahead and lift up your last one in that row. I have 10 in that row, and you do too. You should have 10 pennies in that row. And what we're going to do is we're going to take off these pennies one by one to count backwards from 10 down to 1. So go ahead and take off we said we had 10 pennies. So take off your 10th penny. Go ahead and take off your 10th penny and set it aside. How many pennies do we have now? Now that we've taken off that one, what do we have now? Let's count to check this time. Let's actually count this time. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 pennies. And so if we just counted and we have 9, we should have 9 underneath this penny, right? Go ahead and check. Do we have 9 underneath that last penny? We do. 9 pennies. And now that you've taken off that 9th penny, go ahead and set that aside too. Set aside your 9th penny. All right. What's the number right before 9? Do you remember? What's right before 9? If you said 8, you are correct. We could count, but just for time's sake, let's check to see if we have 8. Yeah, we did. We have 8 pennies right there. Take that 8th penny and leave it off. Set it to the side. And now, what comes before 8? What comes before 8? Before 8 comes, let's look. Go ahead and lift up your penny and you can see if you were right. Before 8 comes 7. Yeah. Goes, when we're counting backwards, it goes 10, 9, 8, 7. Go ahead and take your 7th penny and set it aside. All right. What comes before 7? Before 7, what comes before 7? Go ahead and check underneath this penny to see if you were right. What comes before 7? 6. Yes, 6 comes before 7. What comes before 6? What comes before 6? Let's count this time. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there should be a 5 underneath this penny. Is there a 5 underneath that penny? There is. There's a 5 underneath our 5th penny. Take your 5th penny and set it aside. How many pennies do we have now? Well, what comes before 5? 4. 4 comes before 5. Take that 4th penny off. And before 4 comes 3. 3. And before 3 comes 2. Take off your 2nd penny. And now we're left with just 1. Just 1. Awesome. Count backwards from 10 to 0 with me. You can use your hundreds chart to help you. Ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very good. We're just going to quickly do some problems with adding 1, okay? What I want you to do is add 3 pennies onto your chart. Add 3 pennies onto your chart again. 1, 2, 3. Put 3 pennies on your hundreds chart. Now, what is 3 plus 1? If I have 3 pennies and I add another one, go ahead and add another one. How many pennies do I have now? You could either count them up to see, or you could lift up your last penny and see that you have 4. You had 4. Go ahead and take those off. We'll do one more to practice this. Put on 6 pennies, okay? Put on 6 pennies. 1, 2, 3, 4. So go ahead and put 6 on your chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, I have 6. Do you? All right. So we're going to do the problem of 6 plus 1 pennies. So I have 6 pennies and I want to add one more. So go ahead and add one more. And how many do I have now? Let's count this time. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 pennies, which means that I should have a 7 underneath my last penny. Let's look. I do. I have a 7 underneath the last penny, so I did it right. Good job, kindergartners. You can use your hundreds chart and your pennies to practice your numbers from 1 to 20. And it can help you to learn to add too. So we're going to use that in the future a lot. So it's a really good tool. All right, let's do some of your fact practice together now. All right, so today is Friday. So find Friday and flip to the fact practice for today. It has that 34A at the top. So find that fact practice sheet. All right, so once you have your 34A practice sheet in front of you, we are ready to start. So what is 6 plus 6? Let's hop on the number line to remember how we do that. If you take your finger and then if you put it on 6, you can hop 6 more to find out what 6 plus 6 is. So help me keep track of my hops. Help me count to 6. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I hopped 6 more, and now I'm at 12. So 6 plus 6 equals 12. Go ahead and make a 12, a 1, and a 2 underneath your 6 plus 6. All right. What is 3 plus 3? 3 plus 3 equals 6. Kicks. Very good. Go ahead and make a 6 down and around and give it a curl for 6. What about 5 plus 5? What's 5 plus 5? 5 plus 5 is 10. Again, go ahead and make a 1 and a 0 for number 10. All right. What about 1 plus 1? What's 1 plus 1? 1 plus 1 equals 2. Make a little 2. Down and around and slide to the right. What about 7 plus 7? Oh, that's a big one. Let's hop for that one just to remember. We have our finger on 7 and then help me hop 7 more. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I started at 7 and I hopped 7 and now we're at 14. So 7 plus 7 is 14. 1 and a 4. Down, side right, cut it in 2 for a 4, right? All right. Speaking of 4s, what's 4 plus 4? 4 plus 4 equals 8. That's great. Make an S and go back home for your 8. For 4 plus 4 equals 8. Speaking of 8, what's 8 plus 8? 8 plus 8 equals 16. 16. It's a 1 and a 6 makes 16, right? Let's make a 1 and a 6 for 16. What about 2 plus 2? What's 2 plus 2? 2 plus 2 equals 4. More. Yeah. So make a 4 down, side right, and cut it in 2. Very good. Okay, what is 9 plus 9? 9 plus 9 equals 18. 1 and an 8 makes 18. And finally, what is 0 plus 0? 0 plus 0, nothing plus nothing is still nothing, so make a 0. All right. Your assignment for when you're done with this video is to go back and finish the second half of this fact practice on your own as much as you can. Try your best. And so we are now going to do our worksheet together. All right, 5Ks. So you need your worksheet for Friday. If you find your packet and under Friday, there should be the worksheet that has the big 34A at the top, and it has the 31 at the top too. So find this worksheet. And once you have found this worksheet, go ahead and put your name at the top. Once you have your name at the top, we're ready to start. So, like I said, we are working on the number 31 today. 31. Go ahead and trace the first two 31s and then park your pencil once you've done the tracing ones. This one and this one, and park your pencil. Go. All right. Now that you have made your first two 31s, before you start your next two, we get to do two more. We have two chocolate chips, and which of those two numbers, the 3 or the 1, gets the chocolate chip? Which one? Just the 3, right? Just the 3. And then the 1 you just have to make by yourself. So go ahead and as nicely as you can, touching both the top and the bottom lines when you make them, make your 31s. Go ahead. Down and around again for your 3. And your 1 is just a line, right? Very good. Give you one more second to do that. Now, we want to talk about the tens and the ones in 31. So, take your last 31 that you drew and cut it in half. Make a line straight down. And how many tens are there in 31? How many tens? There's 3 tens. Yeah, 3 tens and 31. So make a T above the 3 for 3 tens and 31. Next, how many ones are there in 31? Just one, right? Just one in 31. So make an O above the 1 to show that there is 1 in 31. All right. Now, for our picture problem today, pay attention to what they tell us to do, okay? Listen as I read it. It says, Mrs. Dorado bought 10 apples and 2 cookies to school. 10 apples and 2 cookies. The children in her class ate 6 apples. Draw a picture and write a number sentence to show the number of apples that Mrs. Dorado has now. They started talking about cookies, but we don't have to worry about that. That's just an extra part of the problem that we don't have to worry about. It says show the number of apples. So it says at the beginning, she bought 10 apples. So make 10 apples. Go ahead and do that now. You can give it a stem and a little leaf if you want. Make 10 apples. Do that now. All right. Give you one more second to finish your 10 apples. That was a lot to draw, wasn't it? Before we finish this problem, I want you to quickly double check that you have 10 apples. Just count them up real quick to make sure. All right. I double checked mine. I hope that you double checked yours. And if you're one short or one too many, you can just cross it out. Make sure you have 10 apples. All right. So it says uh, the class ate 6 of her apples. So this is a some went away problem. 6 of them were eaten. So we have to cross out 6 apples, and we always start from the back. So cross out 6 apples starting from the back. Go. Double check that you crossed off 6. Once you've checked that you've crossed off 6, we're good to move on to the number sentence. So, what do we need to make? What number do we need first? How many apples did we start with? We started with 10, right? We started with 10 apples. So that's the first part of our number sentence. So make a 10, a 1 and a 0, because we had 10 at the beginning. And then in this problem, do we need a plus sign or a minus sign? A plus sign or a minus sign? We need a minus sign, don't we? Because we lost some apples, and we use a minus sign when some went away. So make your minus sign, it's just a line. And then now we have to show how many exactly we lost. We know we lost some, but remember how many lost? We crossed off 6, didn't we? We crossed off 6. So we write a number 6 to show that that's how many went away. And then we need to make an equal sign to show how much we have at the end. And let's count up how many we have at the end. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 left at the end. So go down, slide right, and cut it in 2 to show that you have 4 left. And then go ahead and read this number sentence with me. Ready? 10 minus 6 equals 4. Very good. And so, how many apples did Mrs. Drudo have now? At the end, she had 4. She had 4 not eaten. So make a 4 on this little line because it says blank apples, 4 apples. All right. So we have to, for our next problem, we have to finish this pattern. So say with me the shapes that we have so far to help us see what the pattern is. Ready? Say the shapes with me. Circle, rectangle, rectangle, circle, rectangle, rectangle. So what are the shapes that repeat over and over in this one? The ones that repeat is the circle, rectangle, rectangle. That copies right here, right? And this is an ABB pattern actually, because we have one thing and then we have two of another thing. So what comes next after this rectangle if our pattern is circle, rectangle, rectangle? What comes next? A circle, yeah, because the pattern is starting over at the beginning. So we need our circle. Draw your circle. And then what comes after the circle in this pattern? A rectangle, right? We have to draw a rectangle. That comes next in the pattern. So draw your rectangle in that next blank. And finally, what is the last shape in our pattern? Another rectangle, right? Because the pattern is circle, rectangle, rectangle. So make another one. All right. We're done with our pattern. Good job. Let's talk about writing a number that is one more. We worked on this today when we add one more to a number. So what do we get if we have one more than 6? What comes after 6? 7. Yeah. If we add 1 to 6, if we do one more, we get 7. You can always look at your number line to check. If we have 6 and add one more, we're up to 7. What about 11? What comes after 11? If you don't remember, you can find